Alright, hello friends, and welcome to a new crochet vlog on my channel. Of course, it seems like it was bound to happen the second that I say that I'm thinking about reopening a crochet store and selling some apparel items. I get somebody asking me to make them something. I'm currently working on a hat and some mittens for somebody. They want it in pink, so I'm making it in pink, and I'm using a new pattern that I've never used before for the hat. This one includes some shaping so that the top of the beanie is not as bulky, and I generally didn't tend to mind when I was making it that the top was a little bit bulky. I could move around it, but I am intrigued by this one saying that the top will not be as bulky, and with it having specific shaping for the specific parts of the hat. So I thought might as well, while I'm already needing to make a beanie, try out this pattern. So it has a bit at the bottom here which will be eventually the part that folds up as that would in a hat, and then you have the base of the hat and then at the top here it's a little bit thinner. I know it's difficult to see because I just started it, but you can kind of see that over here it gets a little bit thinner, and that will help, as I said, with the bulkiness when I eventually tie it closed and turn it more into a hat shape than a long piece of crochet. So like I said, I'm interested in seeing how that goes. I've also never made mittens before, so that's going to be an interesting new adventure for me. Yeah, I'm not sure there's really much to say before we start this vlog. I'm just gonna be crocheting a beanie and some mittens, and I hope you join me on this little adventure. Okay, so we are on day 2 of crocheting this hat, late day 2. We've done a lot, and I am currently not thinking that I am enjoying this pattern. I feel like normally when I make a hat, I can make a hat within like a couple hours, a day at most. Whereas, like I said, we're late on day 2, and I'm still working through this. I still have about 17 rows left until I've finished it. And that just seems like a long time. I mean, I do know that we are doing 3 different stitches within this hat, but it's bizarre that it is taking me this long to do it. I mean, ultimately, I don't think that I will fully decide my thoughts on this pattern until I have seen the finished product and to see whether or not I like it, be able to see all the details rather than just as we are right now. But currently, if I were to share my thoughts, they would be, this seems to take forever to make, and that seems very bizarre to me. Also, like, it looks so big. I keep like looking at it and being like, am I sure? I don't want to put it on or anything. I don't know. I'm following it. My gauge is correct and everything. Like, I'm doing it, but I'm kind of looking at this like, I'm not sure about that. I'm also running out of pink yarn. After I do this, I need to make a pair of mittens, and I am getting a little low on this color yarn, so I'm gonna have to get more, which is an unfortunate problem because I live in a small town where the nearest craft store, Joann's, Michael's, what have you, is a distance away. Let's just say that. I think it's like an hour to an hour and a half. Not something that you can just pop on by and say hey. And The Walmart near me sells yarn. It's like the only place nearby me that sells yarn. But they don't sell this yarn. So I think I'm gonna have to order it. There's not really good ways to get yarn here, and that's upsetting. But I'll let you know when I finish this how it goes. But right now my current thoughts are, I'm not sure about this. I'm hesitant. Okay, so since I finished the hat, I wanted to compare and contrast it to a hat that I personally own, my personal hat, so we could talk about some of the pluses and the minuses. For one, this hat, as you can see, it has a rather wide brim, I guess you would call this part. I'm not particularly a big fan of that. I think it should be shorter, but I have also seen a lot of people who have made this hat in particular say the same thing, that they wish that this section band was shorter. So I think that's just a difference in aesthetic opinion between the designer and some of the people who are making it. As well, one thing that I immediately notice is that the top section here is a strange shape where we have this curve and then another curve. It's very obvious, at the very least to me, to tell where each type of stitch starts and ends, and it makes the top look a little strange. I think also in this color in particular just makes it look a little bit nipply. As for the claim that it has, that it will make the top flatter so it won't bulge out as much, it's fairly flat, but comparing it to my own personal hat here, there's really not that much of a difference. One thing that I will say is that this hat, because it is made out of half double crochets and slip stitches, it's very bulky and it holds its shape, which might be nice for colder weather if you want something that's a little bit more bulky to give you warmth, versus my hat. I think you can even tell with me just like spinning them around, this hat keeps its shape. This hat goes all willy-nilly and kind of dances. If I were to scrunch them in my hand, it scrunches. You can also tell that it's my personal hat because it has the longest yarn tail of the world still attached to it. Versus this hat, when you scrunch it, it does scrunch, but it's very dense. It doesn't scrunch as well as this hat. And kind of similar, like I said, this hat is very weighty. This hat is not. This hat feels 2, maybe 3 times as heavy as this hat does. And in overall presentation, I like the original way that I was doing hats better. This is just a rectangle that I sewed into a hat shape, versus this had this sort of trapezoid-esque shape. I feel like it doesn't work the way that I want it to. As I was saying, because this is a hat for somebody else, I won't put it on my own head, but I will say that that hat feels as though it is something you put on, versus this hat is something that you just like toss on and you're ready to go. It does not feel as though that hat is something that you can just quickly grab and run out the door. I'm not the biggest fan of this pattern, but we'll see. We'll see, because I need to have both this hat and the gloves done by next week. Actually, not even, probably like almost half a week from now. So let's see how I feel and whether I want to redo this hat. to be like I used to make hats. Okay, so a few updates from today. I haven't been vlogging that much. I just haven't really felt like it, but every so often I'll take a little bit of a clip. So I finished the second version of the hat the way that I normally do hat patterns. It's a fairly simple pattern. I don't know if you want to steal it from me. It's 40 half double crochet, 42 rows. That makes you like a rectangle, and then you just sew it to look like a hat. Like, it's really simple. You can get it done within like a few hours. So there we have that. I also have all of the extra yarn from undoing one hat and making another one. Kind of surprising that I have this much left over when they're both hats, but to be fair, the other one felt thicker, heavier, and so makes sense that there'd be less in this hat. Then I was at Walmart and I happened to see this yarn. To be fair, it is Red Heart Super Saver, but like I was saying in a previous clip, the only store that's really around me that sells yarn is Walmart. Otherwise I have to go to both Joann's and Michael's are a far distance away. I need more yarn quickly, you know? I need something soon because I want to get this done by Wednesday and it's currently Monday night. So I needed something quick. I just so happened to see this while I was in the store and I was like, that looks fairly close. Like, that could be the exact color of the yarn that I've been using. So I grabbed it anyway, just in case. If we do a little comparison, I'm not 100% sure that you'll be able to see it. This is a little bit more purple, this is a little bit more peach, but otherwise, they're really close. I don't think it's that noticeable of a difference. So I've been using this for the mitten, singular, that I've been working on, and like, this is all that I've done today. Up to there. I keep putting it on every so often to double check the size. A problem that I have is I have very small wrists, and then also I think I just have really small hands. If I were to like do this thing around, I can touch my finger. Same with this one. And so looking at this pattern, which I've never used before, for a mitten, it's a little bit big on me. We have like this much extra space in the cuff. It's probably easier to show you from the thumb, a fair amount in the thumb, but I was like, I already have small wrists to begin with, so I don't know if it's just a me problem and this is a normal size for a normal adult hand. So I ran over to my mom real quick and I was like, hey, put this on. And so she put it on and she's like, yeah, that seems okay. So it's mom approved. I don't know what she has to do with it, but I just needed a second opinion, and that was kind of the easiest thing, was to run over to her and be like, hey, look at this real quick. So I'm still going to continue on and do that. I also want to make another one of these for myself in what is the teen size in the pattern, just to see. I just want to play around with it. But for this, I'm assuming the person who has ordered it, who is getting it, has normal adult-sized hands. So I'm going normal adult size, and my own issues are my own issues. Okay, a few small updates for you. I finished the first mitten. Honestly, wearing it now, it's not as bad as I was expecting it to be. Fit-wise, it is a little bit big on me, but as we said, I have somewhat small hands, somewhat small wrists. Another thing is too, when you're putting your hand in, this part of your hand, which is the widest part of your hand, has to fit through both where your wrist is going to eventually end up here, and also like into till you get to where it's supposed to be in the mitten. And so we can't make this too small, or else you'll never be able to get your hand into it. And so that poses a little bit of a problem, but it's fairly okay. I mean, like I said, it's a little bit big on me, but it's fine. One thing that I don't think that I'd make mittens again in the future, because I'm not the biggest fan of the way that this ends when we get to the top, having to decrease in order to make this area smaller. The thumb in general, I feel like there's not really much movement. You get like that and that's it. So I'm not the biggest fan of them, but it's my first time doing mittens, so I'm fairly proud of it. Then I started, because I had said last night at like 1 a.m. and wouldn't you believe it, it's 1 a.m. right now. Oh my gosh. I had talked about making the next size down, which I have been calling the teenager size because that's the adult size, but the pattern actually says older child, but then the size below that is preschool. So are we considering older children to be like 9, or are we considering older children to be like 16? Not sure, but this is as far as I got before I gave up, because when I go to put this on my, let's see here, this is the side that I am working on, so this side is where the thumb would be, and that's where it starts getting a little bit difficult. On my hand, which as we just talked about, is a little bit smaller than I would assume an average sized adult hand is. Continuing on, I can eventually get it down there. It's a quite nice fit on my wrist, but considering again we have to get it over this part of the hand, you know, and on somebody who, as I said, has bigger wrists than I do, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge. So I decided, you know what, we're not going to do that. Instead, I will just make the second glove. It's going to be in this color anyway, so there's not really a reason why I'm like, here it is, the second glove in the adult size. Let me do this singular stitch because for some reason I'm halfway through it. So currently what we have is this. Interesting. I put the loop over my finger. Currently what we have is this so far. I'm also a little bit surprised because this one is ending up being a little bit closer, a little bit smaller, and that's probably just like tension issues. But tonight is currently Tuesday night. I want to have this finished by Wednesday night, so tomorrow, so that this video can go up Thursday at noon. Hopefully it all works out. I feel like this didn't take too incredibly long, so I could probably do it, and I would have been a lot farther into this one if I wasn't attempting this and then looking at the first this to see whether or not I like it and how to do this and all that. But I'm feeling good about the plan so far. I feel like I could finish this by end of day tomorrow, so we will see. Alright, it is time to sit one last time down here and tell you about what I have crocheted, because I finished not one, but 2 mittens. This one is the one that I did before. I basically just brought it over to show the difference between the two because I did it a little bit differently. So this one on my hand looks like this. I just hit myself in the face. As you can see, the band here is a little bit oversized on me. Again, we talked before about sizing issues. This one, I guess I'll put it on the other hand, is the one that I just finished, and as you can see, the band isn't as stretchy. It has maybe ½ an inch to it, and overall on my hand it fits a little bit better, a little bit closer. Let me put this on with one hand so you can see the difference. Not extremely noticeable, but you know, if you were paying attention, this one is just a little bit bigger than this one. Basically, what I did to fix that in a way is I crocheted this one a little bit more tightly than I did this one. So they are pretty much the same size. They will stretch to the same size should they need to. If I put them one in front of each other, you can see there's no overlap beyond me messing up how they're laying. They're the same size. It's just that this band is a little bit more stretchier than this band, and so it makes a bit of a difference when wearing them and how it looks around your wrist. But with all that being said, we have 2 mittens. We have 1 hat, everything that we needed for this project. I am done. I'm excited. It's currently Wednesday at like 7 p.m. So as I said, I was hoping to finish this by Wednesday, end of day. We did it, and I really hope that she likes them. As for my thoughts on mittens in general, I do think that I'll probably make more of these in the future. I have higher hopes, higher expectations for future ones after I have done this second one, and the way that it fits yet again on my hand looks nice. One little problem that I have with it is when you are finishing the finger and thumb sections, just because especially in the thumb it gets a little bit too close, a little bit hard to crochet around. A minor annoyance, something to keep in mind, is that it does get a little bit fiddly as you work, but otherwise not that bad. I kind of like it now. Maybe I was just moody yesterday. With both of those done, now I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. Since we've done it, we've made a hat and 2 mittens. I hope you guys enjoyed this little look into crocheting. There is more that's going to come out in the future. I have a few other projects that I need to work on, but otherwise I'm gonna end this video for now. So thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you in the future for another video on this channel.